This is Bizz Buzz Beyond the Suit.
Here we are at Bizz Buzz Beyond the Suit, and it's so exciting to have Leigh-Sara Timberlake with me here today. Leigh is the CEO of Business South, and of course I work at Business South as well, and it's always been the plan that you would come on the podcast here, so it's great to have you here, Leigh.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And you're here sort of hot foot from France, aren't you? Tell me about where you've been and what you've been doing.
Rather soggy France.
Yes.
But yes, we've been to MIPIM, which is the largest real estate event in the world, I understand. Lots of investors. Very exciting. It was our 4th year as Central South.
Amazing, amazing. And why were you there? What's MIPIM all about, Leigh?
So this is all about putting our region on a global stage. So up until 4 years ago, we didn't have a presence at that particular event, and we felt quite strongly about that because we have so much to offer as a region. So we now have a stand, we have an itinerary of events, and we go out with a business-led consortium of about 28 people. So we make our presence felt, particularly with the orange branding.
And I think you're known as the MIPIM mum, aren't you?
Yes. I think me and my colleague Shirley, our wonderful event director, we are the MIPIM mums. We make sure everybody knows where they've got to be and are there on time, and generally organise the logistics for the whole thing. So it's exhausting, but it's brilliant, and I feel very proud of the region every time we go.
And that's just one of the sort of major events that Business South is involved in. Can you talk about some of the others as well?
So there are a series of events, both nationally and internationally, and the next one on the agenda is UK Reef in Leeds. So it's a very different event. I'd like to say the weather is different, but actually very similar to France this year.
Umbrellas necessarily.
Umbrellas most definitely necessary, and actually half of the event is outside, so we do pray for at least dry weather. We will have a stand for the first time this year at UK Reef, and we have again an itinerary of events, fringe events. We're going up with our leaders from Southampton City Council and Portsmouth City Council, so another opportunity to showcase those investment opportunities. And then Expo Real is in October, that's in Munich, and we will be attending there for the first time this year. It's very different again, very deal driven. But again, we just need to build that profile for our region, because on the UK City stand, we didn't feature last year. So we want to change that.
Yeah, and it's a sort of an evolving job, really, isn't it? That constantly banging the drum for the region. It's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is a constant sort of series of activity, and we are always learning from others, actually, because the likes of Manchester and Leeds and the Midlands, they've been doing these shows for many years, so to have that camaraderie with our colleagues in the other regions is really important as well, and they are willing to share how to make these things work for your part of the UK.
And I guess sort of seeing how Manchester and Liverpool use these events is the way that we want to do it, isn't it? Eventually, to be using. I thought it was interesting this time around at MIPIM that the big announcement was made about Manchester United's ground, for example, wasn't it?
Really exciting. But I sat in the audience just thinking that needs to be us next year, and we want to be telling our story. They do really make those events work for them. They're much further on than us in regards to mayoral authorities and devolution, and it does show a bit at some of those international events.
Yeah. I think when you sort of mentioned devolution there, should we have a little canter around that subject?
Yes.
Because that's going to be so important for the Central South region, isn't it?
I really think it is. I think it's time now, and I think it's what's needed for us to progress. The government are very much about growth, and I think for us to reach the levels of growth that are required, we need devolved powers to make that happen. And I think that probably Business South have been facilitating that collaboration for quite some years. So this will almost be a more official approach to collaboration.
Yeah, and it can only be a good thing, can't it? So can I take you back to childhood, Leigh, from the sunny climes of Cannes? We're now back to childhood. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think you would be the CEO of an amazing organisation like Business South? What was
Definitely
the
not,
plan?
Kate.
What was the
Definitely not. I was always going to work with horses.
Aw.
And then I had a bit of a reality check and started working in London in an outdoor advertising company that's now owned by Global Radio. But I think I was probably always destined to be in a type of sales role. So, no, it definitely wasn't the plan.
No. And yet you are such a people person. I mean, I know you love the horses, but people are where it's at, aren't they?
I think it's probably the best part of the job, really, both my team but also the champions and the business leaders. I think we're really lucky.
Yeah.
We have some fabulous people in the Central South, and that's what makes it work.
Yeah. And I guess the stories as well, because you're always a great one for sort of teasing out the stories, aren't you, and what's going on, and you know you're very well plugged into it all, aren't you?
Yeah, I try to be, because I think that I still really believe that people buy from people, and I think the relationships are so important. It is about trusting each other, and it's about sharing those common goals.
Yeah. So last night we were here at the university, weren't we? And for a very special dinner. Can you tell us all a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so for many years we've held directors' dinners, which were very nice and very corporate, but actually we're wanting to encourage our next generation of young people to engage with business leaders, because ultimately they're the future. So periodically we hold a Directors of the Future dinner, and last night we worked with Solent University. But what was added into that was a recognition for their alumni. So there was an award ceremony for their alumni, and it always makes you really happy, the buzz in the room when we mix the young people and the business leaders, and I think we learn as much from them as they do from us. I would hope so anyway.
Definitely. And I love it because like the next day your LinkedIn is on fire, isn't it? It's like, you must find it.
I think they literally leave the room and it was fantastic. You couldn't pay for that sort of profile, could you really?
No, it's great. Leigh, would you be able to sum up Business South for me?
Yeah, I think really it is about connecting people, business leaders, to promote our region for talent and trade and inward investment. So for many years we just didn't have that identity as a place, and I think that by working with our business leaders we've been able to really establish an identity in the Central South. And for me that's always been the geography. Business South is the organisation making it all work. Central South is our geography.
And when we say Central South, where is that?
So Central South is the whole of Hampshire, the Isle of Wight. We kind of tip into West Sussex because we wanted Goodwood and, Rolls-Royce on the books.
Bits.
Yeah. And then, of course, Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. So we'd be very respectful of devolution, but actually as an apolitical organisation, we can hover over that wider Central South geography. And when we've tested that at events like the MIPIM event in Cannes, it resonates with investors because we're talking across that wider patch.
And the leader of the council from BCP was with you, wasn't she?
Yes,
recently?
yeah. So Councillor Millie Earle attended and Councillor Lorna Filker, and they were just such great ambassadors for the region. They really were very well thought of. So we're always grateful of their support.
And it's always the leaders that the investors want to speak to, isn't it? So
yeah,
it is,
absolutely. Yeah, I think
important to have
some
them
regions actually officially facilitate that sort of engagement, but
happily.
we're less choreographed, but the opportunities are there.
So obviously Business South has changed over the years. There's been a sort of natural evolution with it. Can you talk me through that?
Yeah, I think we've just continued to do what we always started out to do, but do it on perhaps a slightly bigger scale, growing the network, growing the geography. But I think we've got a real knack of just listening to what those business needs are. So rather than pushing out what we think, we take the lead from our businesses and then we try to come up with some solutions and some fresh ideas. So I think it's just been growing on, our founder, Sally Thompson. She laid those foundations and I think we've just built on her brilliant work,
on what
to
she
be honest.
did. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? And the whole listening thing is really important, isn't it? And there have been times when we've perhaps been pulled in sort of directions, but really the core thing is what the champions are telling us, isn't it?
It has to be. It really has to be. They're busy people as well.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to be really clear on what that offer is, and trying to meet some of their needs is absolutely critical.
You really have got one of the busiest diaries ever. What still fires you up about your work with Business South?
I do love the variety of it, and I think back to the people. It's I really do enjoy engaging with people. No 2 days are the same. I can be either end of the Central South patch, and just I learn something every day, at least something, often more than 3 things.
Yeah.
So I think it really is the variety, and being able to make a difference with the information you receive. That's important as well.
Because even today, I mean, we were sort of in the warm up for this. We were going through who we'd seen already today, hadn't we? And so, like Harwin was a fantastic example, wasn't it, of learning all about them.
Didn't know anything about Harwin, and you'd shared some information with me, but to actually go and meet them and understand, and I think that is the case with the Central South. There are a lot of hidden gems, and
definitely.
we want to bring them to the fore as part of our offer.
And I think what's nice with Harwin's story is they're sort of looking to sort of double their footprint, aren't they? And Knights Brown, who are another one of our champion organisations, are actually helping them do that, aren't they? So
It's brilliant how it all fits together, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have a mayor here as part of the devolution deal. What does that person need to be like?
I think they need to be a strong character, but I think they need to have a listening ear. We really want to help with that business agenda because the mayor's remit will be vast. We have a working group, Regenerate South. We are looking to just formulate that business itinerary. And even if we can come up with the top 3, I think that will be really important. We want the mayor to be business friendly and understand that actually it's our businesses that are an absolute priority because they drive the economy. So exciting times ahead, but it really needs to be the right person. We need our version of Andy Burnham. We really do, yes.
Because it's impressive, I think, when you see them on that international stage, isn't it? And then immediately the people know who to go to talk to, don't they?
And I think that open door policy is really important. I think we have made it quite complicated for investors. Who do they talk to? Do they speak to the unitaries, county, boroughs and districts, private sector? So I do think there is an opportunity to have an open door and then we signpost from there.
Definitely. And one of the things that we've done recently, Leigh, is having the all-party parliamentary group, isn't it? Which has been, in some ways, a challenge, hasn't it?
Yes.
In other ways, it's going to be amazing.
I think it could be a full-time role looking after the all-party parliamentary group for the Central South, but it's been fabulous. And we have to thank Caroline Dinage MP for even suggesting that to us. I do feel really excited every time we go up to Portcullis House with our agenda. We're always very positive, but I think we can challenge as well. It's about working collaboratively on those solutions for our region, isn't it? But it feels like we've got a voice now, which really we haven't had. And if something isn't going to work for our region, it's having that conversation. I always feel like lobbying is a bit too aggressive. It's more about the conversation, isn't it? And the negotiation.
Definitely.
The apprenticeship levy was, a point in question really that we raised. We wrote to the Secretary of State under the previous administration, and actually reform is coming forward now, not just because of us, but because there was a collective desire to just say, some of this is working brilliantly, but actually it could work better for everybody. So I think it's just having that opportunity to have the discussion with our MPs collectively.
And I think it was interesting on that apprenticeship levy question, wasn't it? Where we took, we had Carnival there, didn't we? And we had homegrown hotels as well, didn't we? And the difference in their stories was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It really was interesting to hear from them. They're both major employers in different sectors in the Central South, and one was using all of their levy and more, and one couldn't use it. So, and it's just having those conversations. They also learn from each other, which is part of the benefit of being a champion, really, sharing best practice.
Definitely. And how would you want how does it all work then with the all-party parliamentary group? How do people get involved with that?
So the businesses need to be champions of Business South. Again, it's that listening piece. We have a number of sector-specific action groups, and they feed the agenda. So we will pick 2 or 3 key business challenges to take up for discussion. We invite all of the Central South MPs to join us, and our chair, Amanda Martin MP for Portsmouth North, leads the conversation. We then capture the salient points, and what is absolutely imperative is that we agree next steps, because we have 10, 12 business leaders, chief execs and MDs giving up their time to come up to London and have these conversations, and we just need to track what the outcome's going to be. Even if we can't take that particular point any further forward, we need to have a level of understanding.
So you're mum to 2 lovely girls, Leigh, and we were talking earlier about your passion for horses. That's something that they share as well, I understand.
Yeah, most definitely. I have twin girls, as you know. They're 27 this year. My goodness, I can't believe I'm even saying that. And Katie still competes at British Eventing, which is just fantastic, because it is real sort of complete change from my day job. That I like nothing better than pulling my wellies on and pulling my hair back and just spending time with them and supporting her. And her twin sister is sort of chief groom, really.
No.
Yeah, it's great to still have that family sort of leisure time.
Because your mum's very involved
Yeah,
as well,
mum's
isn't
involved.
she?
Yeah, she'll remember all the things that I've forgotten, and then my husband drives the lorry.
Yeah,
so
lovely.
it is a proper
What a
National
team.
Lampoon's day trip.
What a team. And you do great bacon sandwiches as
Yes,
well.
yes, they are the envy of the lorry park, actually.
And it's nice. It always makes me giggle when you're talking to people who are thinking about becoming a champion, if they've got a horse interest.
Absolutely, yes. We're already
You'll tease
friends.
that out,
yes,
won't you?
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's all about the people.
And how do you see the whole thing progressing with Business South then? If you look ahead, I don't know, 5 years, what's the plan, Leigh?
What is the plan? So we have a strategic plan, Kate.
Oh yeah, is that
yes.
what I'm supposed to be working on?
Yes, I think that is head of strategy. I think you are. But I think ultimately it is evolving the organisation and continuing to do what we do and do it well. And the business challenges will change. So it's, again, being that listening ear and working to come up with some solutions and ideas, but ultimately being really positive about the Central South. Because if we are positive, it gives confidence to investors. It encourages our young people to stay and have their careers here. And we are working really hard on that housing provision, so that our young people can actually afford to live in the Central South. So I think it's more of the same, but just growing the connections, growing the support, and I think devolution will bring lots of opportunity for Business South.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched upon the housing situation there, and obviously we've got a housing paper that we pulled together. What we found when we did that bit of work was really fascinating, wasn't it? With it, you know, I mean, sad in a lot of ways, wasn't it? That, you know, graduates were being turned away, basically, or the potential for people to be graduates in the city was being turned away just because there wasn't the accommodation there, wasn't there?
And the economic impact of that is huge. And then we had the presentation from the lady from the NHS.
Yeah.
You know, quite shocking statistics. But unless we link arms and do something about it, nothing's going to change. And really it has to.
Definitely, definitely. Leigh, it's been a fantastic chat. I've really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for your time today. And I think you should come back on again. You should come back on again and we'll talk again.
Thank you, Kay. You've made it a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.